Hi, nobodies. So I already posted today, but I had a, a great idea in my think tank and decided to bring it on here. And look at this. This is my lip is red and it's um it's from I had a chocolate glazed donut. Well, it was like a day old, so I put it in the microwave for like 20 seconds and the chocolate was like lava and it hit there. It also got my top lip too, but I don't see that when I'm looking. Anyway, um, me and a friend that I text, we were talking about communications etiquette and how some people just don't, you know, like some people get mad, like they'll text you something and you don't reply. Well, if you don't ask me a question, why do I need to reply? I mean, like I have people get mad at me on Messenger when I just do the thumbs up. I do the thumbs up because I'm saying, okay, I read it, I see it, okay, or that's me saying I don't know what to say, so thumbs up, buddy. You know, that's just kind of like I am not commenting, but I'm commenting. But people get mad when you don't reply to something, and sometimes it doesn't need to be replied. I mean, like if you say I'm going to Walmart. Okay, you're going to Walmart. Do I really need to reply to that? Now, if you say, I'm going to Walmart, do you want me to swing by and pick you up? Or do you need anything? Okay, that's a question. And so I say, yes or no, you know. But if they're just making a statement like, I'm going to school, okay, now in all honesty, I should say, okay, have a great day, but sometimes, and I think all of you that don't watch me know that sometimes what you read you're just like, what do I say? Like you just don't reply. Um, Now, when I send a text message, it is because I am just wanting somebody to know something. Like, hey, I'll swing by and get you around 3 o'clock, and I'll send that text at like 8, or I'm on my way, um, things like that. I don't expect a reply unless it's to say, hey, 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 wait, 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 you know? Um, so, like I'll send a text in those cases. Sometimes I'll send it like when I'm dealing with my daughter, my youngest daughter that's 14, I will text her because if I call, a lot of times she doesn't actually answer. Like she won't pick up the phone, but I'll text her and then boom, she's up and running. So I'm guessing that she's just sitting there going, I'm not answering because I'm going to text. you know, my older kid typically will text me instead of calling, but she calls. I think she's caught on that the older folks, myself, like I text when it's not something immediate, like, or I don't want to get into it with somebody. Um, but like if I want to know, hey, what's going on, I'm calling. I'm calling and saying, hey, what's going on? You know, Another thing, there's like, okay, me and the friend were talking, and it was about like, okay, when you're on the phone with somebody, text messaging, you can have text message conversations with like 3 or 4 people at the same time. It's no big deal. This happens. Um, you know, but when I'm talking to somebody, I don't look at my phone when a message pops up. I don't. Unless they're like, "Well, hey, who's calling you?" When they say, "Hey, who's texting you?" Then I'll look at it. Or if I'm already looking at my phone, because sometimes we do that in this society. We don't always look at each other when we're having conversations. We are looking at our phones and talking to people. So, anyway, um that's not such a big deal. I mean, like, but like if I'm in the middle of a conversation with somebody, you know, for them to hear their phone, like their message go off, and then they walk away to go get it, it's like, oh no. Makes you want to say, as a girl, because me and my friend were talking about this, we are like, how would they feel if in the middle of having sex, our phone went off and we are like, hey, get off of me. I got to check my phone. No, dudes would seriously be pissed about that. Just as chicks would be too. Like if she was about to get hers and dude said, oh, my phone's going off. Like if the phone rings, it's like, no, don't you answer that phone, motherfucker. I mean, that's just, and I'm about the same way. Like if you and I are having a face-to-face conversation, or if we're in a discussion, text messages don't matter unless there's something major going on. Like, like if your phone starts really blowing up, then you're like, what the fuck is going on? So but in the normal course of things, it's like, hey, if you and I are spending quality time together, we're doing something, we're having a conversation, those other things can wait. Those will keep. With the exception of sometimes people call, like if you know that a family member is in jail and the phone rings and you're having a deep conversation with somebody and you're like, oh, they can only call me right now. I got to get this. I mean, there's times when you have to take something, and a person can't take it personally when they say, oh, well, that's her son calling that's in jail, or that's her sister calling and she's serving in Afghanistan. Like there are certain things that, like you stop what you're doing to take care of. And it's not saying that the person in front of you isn't as important as the person calling. It's saying, well, crap, there's like a window, and the person calling determines the window, not the person who's living here. So sometimes you do have to say, oh, hey, we'll pick this up. Let's put a stop. I got to take this. I don't mind. I got to take this, you know. Um, but, if it's just, oh, hey, my dope dealer's calling. The fuck, you fucking dope dealer? Really? You're going to put me off for a dope dealer? Get your priorities straight. Who are your people? you know, um, there is phone etiquette, and like, just like if I'm on the phone with somebody and they're like, oh, hey, my mom's calling. I'm going to have to call you back. As a mom, I'm like, shit, yeah, you better take that call. Because even if you got a shitty mom, you take your mom's call. You just fucking do that. You take your dad's call. If they raised you, you take their call. Even if it's just going to stress you out, you fucking take the call. So that you can always say, you took all their calls. You just have like hey, my mom's calling. Call me back in like 5 minutes. That was one I would do with my mom. Call me back in 5 minutes. Or the kids knew, like, hey, your grandma's calling. Start screaming in about 2 minutes. I mean, because some people, you can't get them off the phone. I'm some people. I'll get that. But personally, like when you're dealing with a person who's INFJ, or a person who's got low self-esteem, a person that's been abused in their life, you have to be careful about communications with them. Because if you say, like if you say, I gotta go, like, what am I trying to say? So I'm trying to say something. You got to be careful about like when we text. Now, given the person, some of us, not me, expect a reply to every single message we send. Not me, once again, not me. Some of us just want, are just happy if you answer a question. If I send you a question and you don't answer, and I know damn well you've looked at your phone, I take it personally. Now, am I mad at you? No, I'm not mad at you. I'm upset with me. That's the thing, you got to look at these people like myself who automatically figure, I just don't rate. These people, everybody else is more important than me. I'm not crying, my eye itches. You have to worry about that with if you genuinely give a shit about people, you have to be cognizant of whether or not they get upset about that. Like what is their texting and phone etiquette? And if you have to hang up with them, like if you have to cut into a sentence when they're talking to you, have a good excuse for hanging up on them. Because if it's just, hey, some bullshit that I can't think of right now, because I don't have anything in my head that I remember somebody saying to me. Have a good excuse, because otherwise that person is on the other end going, huh, that is more important than me. And like I said, personally, I'm not mad at the person who has done that. I am not an outwardly emotional person. There are people that are. There are some that would immediately call somebody out. The fuck you hanging up on me? What the fuck? You ain't got time for me. I ain't that fucking important. Like they'll fucking tell you like straight up, like they'll lose their shit if they feel like you just made them feel like less important than everybody else. you know I mean, and some of those people even go off, even if you say it's your grandma, your mom, your dad, they don't give a fuck. They're like, no, you're talking to me. You don't hang up on me. You don't put me on hold. You don't call me back. I end the conversation, not me. No, me, I attack myself. I won't say shit. I really should. But then I get to thinking about, like how that would be perceived, like is it going to be perceived as me saying, like am I being unreasonable? Because I see enough people being unreasonable about stuff and I don't want to be that person. But I also don't want to be this person who continually gets upset because they feel like they're put on the back burner because they always say, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm good. You don't have to apologize. Like not crying, itching. And I should break free of that. But then again, like I said, it's that whole like inferiority complex of how do I let that be known that something upsets me without sounding like I'm being petty or stupid or a million other bad thoughts I could have about myself for being upset about something. So I get upset about it. I get upset with myself. I get upset about, I'm not good enough. Then I get upset for feeling that way about myself over something so stupid. And then I get upset for being upset enough to call myself stupid. So, I mean, it's a whole thing. This is why I don't mind alone time, because honestly, it gives me a chance to think. Because if I'm having to sit there in front of somebody going through all that in my head and trying not to, just feeling inferior, um, feeling not unappreciated, unimportant, like I don't matter. I don't matter at all. That's hard to struggle with when the person who has done something that I have perceived as making me feel unimportant, because I have to say they don't make me feel unimportant. It's how I perceive it. Um but it's hard to sit in front of somebody and hold the mask in place while having those thoughts. I manage, but that's not to say that it's a good thing, and people will say, well, it's not good to hold stuff in. Yeah, but it's also not good to have to explain why I'm upset. Because it never fails that whenever I explain why I'm upset, people invalidate it. It's not oh, I'm really sorry I made you feel that way. Like nobody ever takes it that way. Nobody ever says, "Oh my god, you're right. I totally made that sound like you don't matter." Nobody ever owns it to me. They always just say, "Oh, come on. Get out of here. You know that's not true." Like they make it look like, why are you thinking that? I can't help it. It's how I perceive things, and I'm not mad at you because you are not being cognizant of my insecurities when you know damn well. I mean, it's like, this is why I don't talk about it to people, because it ends up being a thing where there's conflict. And I don't want conflict. I would rather have internal conflict than conflict with somebody. I handle the internal conflict better. Because I mean, I can just say, well, that's life. That's me feeling forgotten. That's me feeling sorry for myself for feeling forgotten. That's me. It's okay. I'll take a nap and I'll be all right tomorrow. That's just, when you talk about it, it doesn't turn out well. Not when you're talking to the person who's not necessarily made you feel the way that you feel, but they've upset you. Something they've said or some way that they've acted has upset you. I can't blow up at somebody, and then when I talk to them about it, I'll start crying, and I hate crying in front of people. And then when they invalidate it, it's just horrible. I'm so much better off internalizing it than having somebody invalidate me. And let's face it, we live in a world where just about everybody invalidates you. I hate to be so pessimistic, but that's been my experience. I've seen lots of people get upset, and I've seen them explain why they're upset, and I've seen people turn it on, like, oh, get over yourself, or whatever, and it's like, why aren't you comforting them? They are upset. You don't have to coddle somebody. You don't have to apologize for what you did, but you can say, I am so sorry that what I said made you feel this way. I never meant to hurt you. It's so simple. It costs you nothing to say, I'm sorry that something I did or something I said hurt your feelings. It doesn't need an explanation of, but I did that because you did this. No, it doesn't need all that. No. You've already hurt them. if they pissed you off, you hurt them. So you don't even need to go into the fact that they pissed you off. Just apologize for hurting them. Because I'll tell you what, any day of the week, I would rather be pissed than crying. Piss me off. Yell at me. Scream at me. Hate me. All of that. I can handle that. That's fine. But if I'm crying, you've wounded me. And as somebody who's used to being wounded, that's like, it doesn't matter what the person did. Once you've wounded them, you got your payback. Plain and simple. You know, whatever they said to piss you off, to hurt them, you can apologize for hurting them because you've already done the damage. Their actions caused a reaction from you that caused them to be hurt. You know, they've paid for their disrespect. They don't have to apologize. You don't have to apologize, but I'm telling you, it's the right thing to do. You know, don't let people feel invalidated if you can help it. You know, don't just pick on them, you know. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. So be mindful of the people who you care about and what they expect of you, but also be mindful that people, you can say no to people. You can tell people, I can't do it. I've got too much to do. I've got too much on my plate. I can't afford to do this or that. You know, it's okay to say no to people. And if they get mad or whatever, you know, that's not a, don't feel bad because you had to say no. Just be careful about how many times you say no, because sometimes you know, you got to give some. You can't just take from people. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Have a good night.